Guess what? It's time for your regular brain workout. Like real athletes, let's start with some warm-ups.
Yeah.
Look at these people carefully. Can you figure out who her husband is? It's the guy on the right. Have you spotted the girl's phone in her pocket? The man's photo is on the lock screen. Which of these women is not pregnant? It's the young woman in yellow. Her belly is actually a large pillow. Do you see it sticking from under her pullover? Now, which of these young ladies is not a princess? It's the gal on the right. You might have noticed that one of her fingers is green. She must be a creature from another world in disguise. And how about these two women? Who is not rich? It's the one washing the dishes. The Adidas logo on her sweatshirt is fake. A few very important documents disappeared from the boss's office. The police have 3 suspects: John, James, and Otto. Strangely, someone left a note in the office. Can you figure out who has something to do with the disappearance of the documents? It's Otto. See for yourself. 1 O 2 T 3 T 1 O. Otto. Can you connect these 4 dots with just 3 straight lines if you aren't allowed to lift your pen while drawing them? Hey, you can do it this way. Yep, as easy as that. Now, you need to answer my question as fast as possible without making any calculations. Try to use your logic and nothing else. Today is Monday. What day of the week will it be 82 days from today? It's going to be Saturday. See for yourself, each day of the week repeats every 7 days. So, after 84 days, it's going to be Monday again. It means after 82 days, it'll be Saturday. Marshall, Ted, Barney, and Robin were in Robin's house. Suddenly, the lights went out, and one of the boys kissed Robin. Robin asked them who had kissed her, and the 3 guys gave her the following replies. Marshall said Ted had done it. Ted said Marshall was lying. And Barney said he hadn't done it. Just one of the guys told the truth. Based on this information, can you figure out who kissed the girl? Barney kissed Robin, and Ted is the only person who was telling the truth. If Marshall's statement was true, then the last statement would be true too, which is against the rules of the riddle. If Barney's statement was true, then one of the other 2 statements would be true as well. So it means Ted is the only person telling the truth. In the world of mathematics, 9 numbers from 1 to 9 wanted to reach the other side of the river. Since it was the world of mathematics, there were some rules. Rule number 1, maximum of 3 numbers could cross the river at a time. Rule number 2, the boat couldn't sail on its own. And rule number 3, the sum of numbers crossing the river at a time must be a square number. You need to plan this process in such a way that the minimum number of trips is needed for all the numbers to cross the river. You'll need 7 trips to transport all the numbers to the other side of the river. It'll go like this. First, you send 2, 5, and 9. Altogether, that's 16, which is a square number. Then you bring back 9. After that, you send 3, 4, and 9, the sum of which is again 16. 9 goes back. Then it's 1, 7, and 8 that cross the river. 1 returns. And finally, 1, 6, and 9 cross the river. Ta-da! In the city of Brightside, 2% of people do not list their phone numbers. Now, if we select 20 random people from the phone directory, how many of these people will have unlisted phone numbers? 0%. Come on, if the number is in the phone directory, it means it's already listed. An ice cream seller has just 2 flavors of ice cream, chocolate and vanilla. The chocolate ice cream costs $2 for a scoop, while the vanilla ice cream is $1. Each customer is allowed to have only 1 scoop. Mary comes up to the seller and gives him $2. Without asking what ice cream she wants, the man immediately gives her a scoop of the chocolate treat. At the same time, when Ben comes up to the seller and gives him $2, the man asks him what flavor of ice cream he wants. Why? Mary gave the seller 2 $1 bills, so it was obvious what she wanted. But Ben gave the seller just 1 $2 bill, so the man had to clarify which ice cream the guy wanted. One day, 4 friends went camping in the wild. When they woke up the next morning, they realized they were in a parallel universe. The friends saw a tree with a small tunnel inside. It could take them back to the real world, but it was going to close in 16 minutes. They had 1 flashlight that had to be carried by 1 person, and the tunnel was so small that only 2 people could go through it at once. It'll take Mike 8 minutes to pass the tunnel. Anna would need 5 minutes. Luke would spend 2 minutes inside, and Jack would only need 1 minute. Can you do the math? Luke and Jack should go first. Jack will return and wait until Anna and Mike walk through the tunnel. It'll take 8 minutes. After that, Luke will go back to get Jack. An expensive ring went missing from a jewelry store on the first floor of a large shopping mall. The manager called the police. After watching the CCTV camera footage, they had 3 suspects: a student, a woman with a 10-year-old daughter, and an elderly man. The student said he had agreed to meet with his friend next to the jewelry store. "I didn't even set foot inside." The woman was furious. "I was at the movies with my daughter here in the mall when everything happened." The elderly man said, "Yes, I did enter the store. I felt unwell and asked for a glass of water. But I didn't take the ring. Who's lying?" All of the movies running at that time had a 16-plus age rating. The woman wouldn't be able to watch any of them with her young daughter. One day, Cooper was relaxing at home when someone rang the doorbell. When the guy opened the door, he saw 2 police officers. They told Cooper his neighbor had called them. "My neighbor insulted me. I jumped into my car and tried to drive away, but he chased me. Then he threw a stone and smashed my car window." Cooper was shocked and asked the police officers to let him have a look at the neighbor's car. After they all examined the vehicle, the police arrested the neighbor. How did they understand Cooper wasn't guilty? It was the windshield that was smashed. But if Cooper had been chasing after the car, the stone would have broken the rear window. Jack and John were twin brothers. They were burglars, and the police all over the country had been trying to catch them for several years. Finally, one of the brothers got into a trap after breaking into a wealthy businessman's villa. But police officers had a problem. They couldn't figure out whether they had caught Jack or John. The only thing the detectives knew was that Jack always lied and John always told the truth. How can they find out who the man is by asking him just one question? The question the police officers need to ask is, do you have a brother? If it's Jack, he'll lie and say no. And if it's John, he'll give a positive answer. Detective Dan Carlos was following a criminal who had stolen his watch. This person ran for a hospital building and disappeared inside. When the detective rushed through the doors, he saw two doctors examining their patients. One of them had to be the criminal he was looking for. But which one? It was the woman on the left. Her stethoscope earpieces aren't in her ears.
Take a look at this image for a second. Which prisoner do you think is rich? Let's see. It can't be the first guy since his food is partially rotten. It looks like the other inmates don't really like him, and he doesn't have a lot of power inside the prison. The second guy, while he looks super wealthy, his jewelry is actually fake. This leaves us with the last guy, and bingo! It's him! Look, he's got a laptop under his plate and a phone under his arm. He's the richest for sure. Susie was invited to take part in a pop-up riddle show. She needed to answer one question correctly to win $1,000. She was extremely nervous when the game show host asked her this question. How many numbers are on a clock? Can you help Susie figure out this one? The answer looks obvious, but it's not. You need to do some math. The correct answer is 15. It doesn't work if you simply stare at the clock and say there are 12 numbers. You see, the numbers 10, 11, and 12 are made up of smaller numerical numbers, so the correct way to count it would be in a clockwise fashion. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 1, and 1. Phew! A local thief was running around playing tricks on some neighborhood stores. On a Saturday morning, he walked inside Mrs. Buchanan's shop and stole a $100 bill from the counter when she wasn't looking. He grabbed a shopping cart and filled it with $70 worth of goods. He paid for everything with the $100 bill he had stolen and even got $30 back as change. How much money did the store owner lose in all of this? The shop owner just lost $100. I know it sounds too simple, but here's the deal. In total, the store owner lost $70 worth of merchandise, plus the $30 she gave as change. So yes, she lost $100. Maya was roaming through the multiverses when she ran into a gatekeeper guarding a green door. She said she needed to go through the door in order to access her original timeline, but the gatekeeper would only let through those who answered his riddle. He told her that some things can go through the green door while others cannot, and she needed to figure out what all of the things had in common. And then he tells her, "You can come through the door with a carton of eggs, but not with a box of donuts. You can pass through it with a gallon of skim milk, but not a quart of it. You can bring with you some bamboo, but not jade, orchids, philodendron, or ivy. Sadly, you can't come through with dogs and cats unless they're still puppies and kittens. Can you help Maya figure out the pattern in common with all of these things? Well, the key to solving this riddle can be found in all 4 of the words that make up the phrase green glass door, aka double letters. If something is spelled with double letters, it can go through the green glass door. If there are no double letters in its name, then it can't. Mark went to the farmer's market to do his weekly grocery shopping. He stopped by the egg stand, and the owner was feeling chatty, so he challenged Mark to guess the answer to a riddle. He told Mark,
"If I had 4 eggs and a thief gave me 3, and my rooster laid 5 more, how many eggs do I have?"
Can you help Mark figure out the answer here? I'll get one thing out of the way. It's not a simple math problem. It doesn't work if you just add everything up. But here's the first problem. Roosters don't lay eggs, so those eggs are out of the equation. And then if you read correctly, the man said, "If I had 4 eggs," which means that he had 0 eggs to begin with. So the correct answer is 3. The 3 eggs that the thief gave him. 4 prisoners from a high-security prison were taken to a deserted beach to do some community service. The warden wanted to have some fun, so he lined them up in a single-file line and separated prisoner A from the other 3 with the help of a brick wall. He gave each prisoner a hat, either black or white, without telling them which color they each got. In total, there were 2 black hats and 2 white hats. He told them that all prisoners would be sentenced to prison for life, except they could guess correctly which color of hat they had in under 10 minutes. The prisoners weren't allowed to confer with each other, and they weren't allowed to move around or change positions. They got super nervous, of course, but they had no other option than to play the game. Luckily, just before the clock struck 10 minutes, one of the prisoners guessed correctly their hat color. Can you guess which prisoner it was? P.S. There is only one correct answer. If you guessed prisoner C, then you got it right. Let's see why. This riddle can only be solved through a process of elimination, and 2 of the prisoners, prisoners A and B, can be eliminated right off the bat. That's because neither one of them can see any of the other prisoners, so neither possesses any information with which to make a more certain guess. That just leaves us prisoners C and D. When prisoner D remains silent and doesn't take a guess, prisoner C deduces his own hair color. He deduces that he and prisoner B must be wearing different colored hats. And since prisoner B was wearing a white hat, he guessed he is wearing a black hat. Yikes! This fried my hat off. Betty was in her last year of high school and she decided to take photography as an extracurricular activity. For her latest assignment, she needed to take an urban picture and present it to the class. However, since Betty was also organizing a big graduation trip, she didn't have time to do the assignment. Instead, she decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teacher and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because that person over there has 2 heads. It looks pretty cool, but that's kind of a difficult phenomenon to find here on this planet. Three people decided to spend their vacations in Antarctica. Bianca had some trouble with the harsh weather, but felt it was worth it in the end. Pablo had a great time photographing the penguins for his social media page. And Helena got to do some fishing while she was there. On the last day of their trip, passing through airport security, one of them got caught trying to take a penguin with them in their backpack. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who it was? Let's see what we have here. Well, is that a penguin's feet poking out of Helena's backpack? It sure is. Guess she did more than just fishing during her vacation. Yikes! December 5th is Bloomfield Town's contest day. For this year, the mayor picked bakery as the theme, so contestants needed to bake the best dessert to win. The only rule was that the bakers couldn't use sugar in their recipes, only natural sweeteners. When the mayor went to judge the 4 finalists and pick the best dessert, he immediately disqualified one of the bakers, saying they had cheated. And he did that without even tasting the desserts. Take a look at the contestants and see if you can spot the cheater. Look at the third woman in the row. Her cake is literally covered in powdered sugar. She was disqualified because she broke the no sugar rule. Ivy has been partying all night long. Finally, she leaves the club. Ivy wants to call a taxi, but her phone isn't working. 3 people are eager to give her a ride. Can you spot which drivers are dangerous? If you nailed it, please share your answer in the comments. The second car has a flat tire. Probably not the safest option. The third car is fine, but the driver is hiding an axe in his pocket. So, Ivy should definitely choose the first car. Unluckily, Ivy picks the wrong driver. She falls asleep on the way and wakes up in the city service tunnels. Ivy wanders around for a while and finds 3 tunnels leading outside. But they're not safe. A hungry alligator is waiting in the first one. The second tunnel is filled with acid that can dissolve Ivy's body in a few seconds. And there's a deep pit covered with sharp rocks in the third tunnel. Which tunnel should she choose to survive? Let us know in the comments. Ivy should choose the third tunnel. The water is running right into the pit, so it must be filled with water by now. Therefore, Ivy can swim through it safely. Ivy swims out of the tunnels and finds herself in the middle of the bay. She's rescued by a ship. The crew leaves Ivy to rest in the hold, but suddenly the ship begins to flood, fast. Ivy's trying to get out, but the hatch is stuck. She's locked inside the hold. How can Ivy survive? Think carefully and tell us your answer in the comments. She's got to hold her breath and wait until the hold is filled up with water. When the pressure is even, she'll be able to open the hatch. Ivy escapes, jumps onto a lifeboat, and arrives on an island. The lifeboat gets blown away by the wind right away. Ivy is alone on a desert island covered with dry plants. The water around it is infested with piranhas. Suddenly, a fierce fire breaks out, and the winds are blowing her away. Ivy can't touch the water in any way. How can she survive the fire? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. She should use a branch to burn some grass. When the flame reaches her, there will be a burnt out spot. The fire won't touch it. Phew, the fire is gone. Ivy is exploring the island. She finds a secret hatch in the ground, opens it, and enters a creepy dungeon. The hatch slams shut. Ivy is trapped inside. Thankfully, the dungeon has a sufficient supply of buckets filled with food, matches, and medicine for a week. But Ivy doesn't want to stay here that long, so she's searching for ways out. Soon she comes across 3 doors. A hungry bear and a cub are waiting behind the first door. There's a wall of fire behind the second door. And the third door leads to a lake filled with crocodiles. Which door should Ivy choose? Hurry up to be the first to comment. The bear will try to protect its cub. Crocs are a bad idea too, but Ivy can distract them with food and then use the lake water and the bucket to fight the fire. So she should choose the second door. Ivy gets out of the dungeon. Suddenly, she sees a helicopter in the sky. The island is still covered with dry, burnt plants. Can you help Ivy find a way to make the pilot notice her? Remember the matches and medicine kept in the dungeon? Ivy should use them to make a fire in the bucket to send a signal to the pilot. But if you come up with an alternative answer, be sure to let us know in the comments. The helicopter pilot, whose name is Andy, takes Ivy off the island. They're flying towards the mainland, but unfortunately the engine breaks down on the way. Andy has to land the helicopter as soon as possible. There are 3 options: a snowy mountain peak, an island inhabited by monsters who eat all strangers, and the foot of an ancient volcano. Which landing spot is the least dangerous? If you nailed it, please share your answer. Monsters are a bad idea. This volcano is about to erupt, so it's not safe to land here as well. But take a closer look at the mountain. It's located near a city. So this option is the safest. Andy and Ivy land on a mountain peak. There are 3 roads to get to the city. Which route should they take to stay alive? The comment section below is waiting for your answer. Only the second route leads to the city. On the way, Andy and Ivy get very hungry. They come across 3 food stalls, but only one has food that's safe to eat. If you already know which, don't hesitate to share it in the comments. The first chef doesn't wear any gloves and his hands are really dirty. No thanks. And the third kiosk is located right next to a toxic waste bin. So the second option is the best. Ivy finally made it home. The next day, she sends Andy this photo, and a day later, this one. How did she survive? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Ivy just photoshopped herself to make it look dangerous. Let's zoom in the second picture. She has a photo editor open on her computer. Ivy is a scientist, and today she carries her nanorobots to a scientific fair. Suddenly, someone attacks her. Ivy wakes up in a prison. The thief stole her bag. But thankfully, Ivy still has 3 tiny robots in her pockets. She has a toad robot that spits poison, a spider robot capable of creating very strong webs, and a butterfly robot that melts everything it lands on. Which robot can save Ivy? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. The butterfly can melt the bars. The bars are gone. Ivy runs along a creepy corridor and faces 3 open doors. Which door is not dangerous? Think carefully, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. The first lady is a werewolf. And the third lady isn't human. Take a look at her eyes. So only the second door is safe. This leg behind the curtain is just a kitten. Ivy passes through the door and continues her runaway. She faces a guard in front of the exit. He says,
"If you solve my equation, I'll let you go. But if you fail, you'll stay in this jail forever. Add one line to make this equation true. You can't cross out the equal sign."
Can you help Ivy escape? Think carefully and feel free to leave your answer in the comments. She should use the line to turn one of the plus signs into a 4. This way, we'll get 545 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 555. Ivy nails it and leaves the jail. But there are 2 more prisoners trying to get free. Who's more likely to escape? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Digging through toxic waste seems like a very dangerous idea. But the first lady can distract the dogs with her sandwich. Therefore, her chances of escaping are higher. Andy invites Ivy on a date. He offers 3 options. He just received a brand new helicopter so they can have a romantic ride over the city. The second option is to swim in a pool on the roof of a 5-star hotel. And finally, they can go ride a Ferris wheel in the local amusement park. What should Ivy choose to stay alive? Don't forget to share your answer. All 3 options are risky. Take a look at the sky. There's lightning. It's forbidden to fly a helicopter into a thunderstorm. The Ferris wheel can be hit by lightning too. And swimming in a thunderstorm isn't safe either. But at least the guys can hide inside the hotel. Hit the like button if you managed to crack each riddle, and don't forget to subscribe.